Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being with us here on Emergency Management Associates. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome you here to our program tonight. As we've been doing for some time, we're going to start off this program with a salute to the United States of America. Folks, please rise now. We're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance and the United States National Anthem.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now would you make welcome, straight from Washington, D.C., the United States Army Corps Quartet.
Yeah.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Oh yeah! Come on, folks, let them know it.
America's finest, the United States Army Barbershop Quartet, performing at the Barbershop Quartet Convention in 2015. The host of the Barbershop Quartet Convention gave us the Pledge of Allegiance, and we appreciate them as well. God bless our troops wherever they might be around the globe. We also want to thank all of our servicemen and women of our allied armed forces as well. God bless you all. May you all return home to your families after your tours of duty end. God bless you all, and again, thank you for your service. It's wonderful and it's appreciated. Too many times I've seen our servicemen and women around the globe. I've seen them around the globe, ladies and gentlemen. I've seen them in Europe. I've seen them in Scandinavia. I've seen them in Australia. I've seen them around all over the place. I want to thank all of them for their service. Why? Because they give up their lives. They give up years of their lives to serve their countries, and our country here in the United States as well. Many of them don't come home. and their families grieve of the loss of their sons and daughters. They grieve their grandsons and granddaughters, because those wonderful souls went to serve their countries proudly. And I want to thank them from the bottom of our hearts. In November, on November 11th, my birthday, it's set aside for Veterans Day. We can't give our veterans enough thanks for what they do. I don't think our countries truly appreciate them. Otherwise, their veterans' benefits would skyrocket. Veterans would be taken care of. We would not have any veterans that are homeless. But our countries don't care anymore, which is sad. Anyway, guys, I don't want to dwell on that right now. I've got a lot of things I want to talk about tonight. Those of you that are following what's going on over in Israel and the Gaza Strip. This is a picture of the Gaza Strip. Bombed out. Literally. Unfortunately. Now, I've had some people attacking me today. I've also seen people attacking the United States government and attacking Israel for defending itself. I want to make a statement very clear. I support Israel. I want to make it known that I support Israel completely and wholeheartedly. And it's too bad that other people don't. If you had been attacked, I'm going to throw it back in your corner. If you had been attacked, you yourself had been attacked, what do you think you would feel like? What do you think you'd feel like if you yourself and or your house had been attacked? Would you sit there and just let it happen? Would you sit there and just let it happen? Or would you retaliate and make sure nobody was ever able to do that to you again? That's exactly what I'm saying. Tank says it was his honor to serve. I never served in the military. My father, who served in the Navy for 34 years, told all of us to stay out of the service. It was no longer what it used to be. So I did not serve in the military. However, I served as a federal police officer. I served as a police officer. I served around the military in San Diego and also in Denver. I saw what happened. I saw what happened to our servicemen and women. When I was in high school and college, I also served in the Air Force ROTC program. At the time, they were not making any other people first lieutenants like they usually did. And so I didn't go on into the Air Force. I was a cadet staff sergeant in Air Force ROTC and junior ROTC. A cadet staff sergeant. So you can call that service. You can call that service, and that's fine. But folks, we have a problem here all over the world. Why is it a world's problem? A country has gotten attacked by terrorists, and they want to throw it back in Israel's face. The fault of it doesn't belong to Israel. The fault of it is terrorists in our world. The terrorists have to be taken out. The terrorists have to be eliminated. There was a time I didn't believe that. I believed negotiations were possible. I believed that people could work out their futures talking and making sure that things would be okay. That is not the case here. Israel did not attack Hamas. Israel did not attack the Gaza Strip. Anytime Israel has taken a defensive posture, it's because Hamas and or Hezbollah came on the attack. If anybody suffered in the Gaza Strip, it was because Israel was attacked. And yet there are people that blame Israel for their woes. And I'm sorry that there's so many people dead. There's over 1,400 people now in Israel that have lost their lives. 30 Americans and numerous other people from other countries. Over 2,700 people have been killed in the Gaza Strip. 2,700 people have been killed. And as you can see, buildings are in shreds. Sometimes there are no buildings left. I've seen pictures where no buildings are left at all. Israel gave notice 2 days ago that anyone that does not want to be killed or injured, Israel gave them 24 hours notice to leave. Israel did attack Hamas. They attacked military targets, terrorist targets. If there were apartment buildings or homes attacked, it was because Hamas made those facilities their war headquarters. That's why those buildings or homes may have been attacked and leveled. Again, Israel has been very lenient. They have not brought in their heavy artillery, their heavy-duty vehicles and tanks. They have already taken and used their Air Force, their planes. And I applaud that. Strategically going in and eliminating the problem. But they cannot completely eliminate the problem with just air power. The only way they can eliminate the problem is going in with everything. Air power and people on the ground. And that's about what they're about to do now. There are people that have been escaping the Gaza Strip, going into Egypt. The port of entry going into Egypt from Israel has been closed until 9 a.m. today, Israeli time. The port of entry into Egypt has now been opened. And hundreds, if not thousands, of people have escaped into Egypt now. Secretary of State Blinken has visited with the surrounding states in that area, the countries, Egypt, Lebanon, Turkey, Syria. They've warned Iran to stay out of it. Iran has given Hamas and Hezbollah terrorists their armaments, their weapons, to do what they've done. No one can tell me anything about Iran staying out of it. They have not stayed out of it, regardless of what Biden says. Biden is a frickin' liar. Iran has not stayed out of it, otherwise this would not have happened. And Biden is up in it over his head. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. Biden has also sent armaments and money to Iran. Biden almost got away with sending $50 billion to Iran. $6 billion of it was held back in Qatar, in the country of Qatar. Iran still wants that money. I am hoping that between Qatar and the United States that Iran won't get that money. If Iran gets involved and sends over nukes, then the United States will get involved in Iran and eliminate Iran. And unfortunately, at that point in time, there will be world war. Why? Because Iran has made friends with both Russia and China. And at that point in time, if we attack Iran, Russia and China will also come in. Yes, everyone needs to pay attention to what we're saying here. You need to be paying attention to everything that we're saying here. Every day, but right now especially. You need to be prepared. We've been talking about preparedness for a very cotton-picking long time. 4.5 years we've been talking about emergency preparedness. I want it to be known right now. The next few days we're going to talk about preparedness. Yes, we're going to talk about earthquakes as well. But I want to make sure that you have all the information that you could possibly need to get prepared. And I'm going to talk about physical preparedness. I'm going to talk about mental preparedness. And I'm going to have a preparedness information session upon spiritual preparedness as well. I'm putting things together for that. But folks, I want to make sure everybody has everything in line. I have a feeling things could come across very fast. And I want to give you all the information you could need to make sure you are prepared. I want to make sure that you are also sharing that information with everybody that you know. That's how dark this whole situation has gotten. Okay? You need to prepare, and you need to prepare now. And I'm serious about this. I couldn't be more serious. I want it to be known without any hesitation that things are going to go bad. And it's going to go bad very quickly. As some of you have noted over the last few weeks, my IT specialist put together a new program for the first minute and a half of our program. Gave us a new beginning. Why do I do that? I've been criticized for showing you a video that we put together. Why? I want to give everybody time to come into this program. I gave you a minute and a half by showing you that special presentation my IT director put together for all of us. And yes, a lot of it, as you see, are things that I've given her to show all of you. Then, I go a little further than that. I pay tribute to the country that we live in. And I know many of you don't live in the United States, and I wish I could put out the national anthems for each and every one of your countries. I do. Because I love each and every country that you live in. I've been in many countries throughout Europe and Scandinavia. And I pay tribute to all of you, whether you live in New Zealand, Australia, Japan, Indonesia, South America, Central America, and Canada. Anywhere where you live, in England. I love each and every one of you. But I want to give everybody a chance to get into this program and find out what we're talking about. I'm also asking you to stick around for the rest of the program. Why? Because everything that we are talking about today and every day has a purpose. If you don't stick around through the program, you're not going to get the information we have for you. It's very important that you stick around here. Don't just bail after 10 or 12, 15, 20, 30 minutes. Stick around for what we have to show you. Yes, I've taken some time to talk about Israel because I'm a descendant of Abraham. I'm a descendant of Jewish people, Jewish family members. So I am trying to bring out the fact that most others of us also are descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's why I do this. Also, Vicky and Rob and others are saying give us a thumbs up, and I appreciate that as well. I really do. That means a lot to me. But folks, please stick around for everything we're going to talk about today. It's very, very important. I see we have 52 thumbs up. I was hoping to see 152 or more. Folks, I'm serious about this. I care or I wouldn't be here. I would not be talking to you. Now, let's talk about something else here, okay? I want to show you this. This snippet here is from the Dan Bongino show. But more than that, this is a congresswoman from Colorado, and she has a message for all of us. Please hear her out.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Democrat policies are so pathetic and have done so poorly that the left has nothing else to do but troll the internet looking for ways to get offended and then try to target members and strip them of their committees. This is a dumb waste of the House's time. But since the Speaker has designated the floor to discuss members' inappropriate actions, shall we? The Jihad Squad member from Minnesota has paid her husband, and not her brother husband, the other one, over $1 million in campaign funds. This member is allowed on the Foreign Affairs Committee.
Ilhan Omar. We're talking about Congresswoman Ilhan Omar from Minnesota, giving her husband money from her campaign. Her husband is not her campaign manager. She paid her husband money, out of a separate fund that she should not have done. That's called fraud, waste, and abuse. If I had done that as a congressman, I had been thrown out, and I would have lost my job, and I might have been prosecuted. That in and of itself is against the law.
While praising terrorists. A Democrat chairwoman incited further violence in the streets outside of a courthouse. And then the cherry on top, my colleague and 3-month presidential candidate from California, who is on the Intelligence Committee, slept with Fang Fang, a Chinese spy. Let me say that again. A member of Congress who receives classified briefings was sleeping with the enemy. This is unacceptable, and this would never be.
Time's expired. Gentleman from Florida.
This is going to open up, just so I cover this accurately, this piece of audio video, with a video of a man in China talking in this clip before it's been taken down. He's speaking, not in English, obviously. He's speaking, and you'll hear it, and then you'll hear Tucker describe what he's saying. This is really, really disturbing stuff. Check this out.
2个月之内搞定，什么原因？啊，这儿我抛出一个可能又要是暴论了，就是因为咱们上边有人，啊，就是我们在美国的权势核心圈啊，我们有我们的老朋友。
There's a lot of garbage floating around the internet right now, a lot of fake things. That video is real, and those subtitles are accurate. We checked today with 2 different Chinese speakers and confirmed that. What he just said, what you just read on the screen, tells the story. This is as close to a smoking gun as we have ever seen. Quote, we have people at the top of America's core inner circle of power and influence. According to the man you just saw, that has been true for decades. So who are these people, and how many of them work in our media and in our government? Well, he didn't say precisely. At one point in the video, he described a Chinese agent working as a vice president at, quote, a top Wall Street financial institution. I can't say more, he explained, without making political trouble. Didong Sheng did tell his audience that one agent in particular was especially useful, and he goes on at some length about her. He describes her as an American who's lived abroad for many years, who is now a Chinese citizen.
Who's that agent? Who's that agent? Who's that Chinese agent that this Chinese official in this damning video talking about? And there are subtitles if you want to watch it, rumble.com/Bongino. There are subtitles on it. This Chinese official clearly says, we have people at the top. We have people at the top. And then mentions a specific Chinese agent. Who is that? Why do you think Tucker aired this segment last night, folks? You think it was a mystery? You think it was a mistake? You think Tucker, in the midst of this election, just, hey, let's just randomly do a segment on the Chinese communist influence operation in the United States? I don't think so. Who is this agent? This Chinese agent working his or her way up the top. Well, what conveniently dropped this morning? In a moment of stunning journalism over at Axios, this is good work. A reporter over at Axios dropped this bombshell of a story about an agent in the United States working with China to influence political leaders and others. Axios, exclusive. Suspected Chinese spy targeted California politicians. Oh, wait till you see who one of these politicians was. So before we get to specific screen caps from this piece at Axios, again, a stunningly good piece of journalism. I say that because journalism has seemingly died, and one of the politicians in question is a Democrat, and you know they're a protected class, Joe. There's no allowable journalism on Democrats. Stunning. I mean, we saw no journalism about the Hunter Biden story at all. Matter of fact, there was anti-journalism where it was suppressed. So just to get through this, Ratcliffe opens up talking to Catherine Herridge. China's working the system, trying to bribe and influence government leaders to influence policies in their favor. They're also working business leaders, academics, entertainers, anyone they can get their mitts on, union leaders and everyone else, to try and get policies passed that influence China and screw you over. That sounds kind of bad. Tucker goes on last night and says, hey, listen, we've got video of this Chinese official talking about this. We have people at the top influence operations, implying they bought off people in our own government. And then Tucker says, hey, this guy also mentions this Chinese agent who's done some spectacular work in really getting inside our political infrastructure to screw someone over. And conveniently this morning, Axios drops this bomb.
Okay. I'm not going to go any further with this. It goes on for another minute or so. But you see what I'm talking about. The Congresswoman Lauren Boebert from Colorado, talked about it. The Chinese woman Fang Fang, or Miss Fang, slept with California politicians and got within their, not just their drawers, but got information for China. And it's not just California, in Washington as well. We've been talking about spies for a while. Before President Trump got into office, he was accused of having Russian colleagues and Russian spies. He was under investigation. He was actually taken to the woodshed and spanked by Congress falsely. As it turned out, he had nothing to do with the Russia collusion. Guess who did? The Democratic Party. They made accusations of President Trump, but who is actually guilty? The Democratic Party. The Democrat Communist Party. Fact. And they're still going after him. Now, if what I'm telling you now gets me kicked off of YouTube, I will be immediately on Rumble just as Dan Bongino was. I will go to Rumble, and you can find me there from then on. I feel it an obligation to talk about what's actually going on, because it affects each and every one of us. It affects our home life, it affects where we live, it affects the money we pay in rent, the money we pay in utilities, the money we pay for groceries. It all comes full circle. What's going on in Israel is also going to affect us. It already is. We have Hamas and Hezbollah terrorists in our country here, and in England as well, and in Australia and Argentina. They are also over in Germany and the Netherlands. They're in my former hometown of San Diego, causing problems, hurting people, thinking they're the gods and they can do whatever they daggum well please. Sorry, Hamas, this time you're wrong. Joe Biden allowed these terrorists in our country, and now they're taking center stage in our country, causing problems, hurting people, and destroying property because they can. Sorry, Joe, your minute is up. You need to resign. Kamala and Joe, you need to resign, and you need to resign immediately. This is BS. As I said, I will support Israel until my dying last breath. I'm also here to tell you, you need to prepare, and prepare now. Whatever it takes, food, water, whatever it takes, camping equipment. We talked a lot about this in the past. You need to have it, and you need to have it now. This is coming to our own doorsteps. It's been coming to our doorsteps for a very, very long time now. For the past 3 years that I know of, maybe 4 or 5 years. Actually, I know it's been at least that long. They've been blowing up and taking over our food processing facilities, meat and otherwise. They've destroyed those facilities. They destroyed the distribution centers as well. Then you see trains derailing all over the country and all over the world. They're making sure that the distribution points don't get to you. So food prices have skyrocketed. You used to be able to buy $70 worth of food and fill your grocery cart. Now you're only getting 7 or 10 items for that same $70. Fact. It's affecting each one of us. Gas prices have gone through the roof under this comedian in charge of the United States. I shouldn't even call him a comedian. He's a disaster. He is a disaster. Lamb as the Light says, I'm trying to guard my heart because all this makes me very mad. You have a reason to be mad. I guard my heart all day long. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I do. I have shed tears over this. Yes, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm asking all of you to be mad. I'm asking all of you to get ready for war. It's coming to our shores. It's coming to our towns, our cities, and our nation. You need to be ready for it. You folks outside the United States, it's coming to your countries as well. Because the politicians have allowed these people inside your countries. We saw France. We saw Italy. We've seen England. And all the destruction that's gone on with these terrorists. And people hurt and killed. I've seen the film and I've seen the pictures. I can't put them on the air. But I'm telling you guys, you need to do something now to protect yourselves. Whatever it takes to protect yourselves. Whatever it takes to protect yourselves and your families. Again, I'm talking about food, I'm talking about water, I'm talking about making sure you have enough food in your pantry as well as survival food. I want you to make sure you have flashlights and radios. I want to make sure you have tents and camping equipment, because that may also come to bear for all of us. Scooter Pie says everyone in her neighborhood has no clue. It's a bed of roses. For many people, it is that same bed of roses. I don't buy it. If people aren't paying attention, it's because they don't want to hear it anymore. They voted for it. They put Bozo into the White House. They've done away with all sense. All common sense is out the window. It's up to all of us to take it back. Folks, share this video everywhere. Your friends, your neighbors, your social media contacts, your family and extended family, and the people you work with. Everybody needs to see what I'm showing you today. This is necessary. Also, be advised, YouTube is still unsubscribing people. I can't believe it. One day, we have 1,789 people that are subscribed to this program. Before I came on the air today, with 1,762 people that keep unsubscribing people. Those of you that are watching this program today, you need to be subscribed to this program to make sure you get our messages, to make sure you get the information you need to get through what's going on. It's going to get very dangerous very quickly here. Please, I want to be able to share information that I find for you. I spend a lot of hours every day pulling together information. It's vital for all of us to know about. Okay? And also make sure that you are thumbs up, giving thumbs up, liking our program. If you enjoy what we're giving you, please give us a thumbs up. Okay? Now we have 81 people, and I appreciate that. Now, besides that, I want to talk about some earthquakes that have happened. Okay? This one here. And I'm going to blow this up for you so you get an idea of exactly where it's at. This is just northwest of Vancouver Island, British Columbia. South of Queen Charlotte Island, British Columbia. This is a 5.1 earthquake yesterday. A 5.1 earthquake yesterday. Hey guys, guess what? It's not the only one. It's not the only one. Look at this. Okay, I'm sorry, it's the same picture. Look at this one. This is a 5.2 in that same area. They took this one down. They took this one down. So we've had two large earthquakes over here in the Cascadia fault line. The Cascadia subduction zone. Two large earthquakes within the last 24 hours. Two large earthquakes in the Cascadia subduction zone. And what other earthquake fault is this? Right next to it, just west of there. This is the Juan de Fuca fault. Also within the Cascadia subduction zone region. Why am I harping on this? Why do you think I'm harping on this, ladies and gentlemen? I'm going to talk about the Cascadia subduction zone. I'm going to talk about a major earthquake that I believe is going to happen. I'm going to show you information about what is going on. Lama's Light says, I'm going to have $800 to spend. I just don't know what to buy for my preps. Suggestions. Yes. Suggestions. Food. Don't buy any food at all unless you're going to eat it. Don't buy food that you're not going to eat. If you're already eating this kind of food, buy it. Breakfast, lunch, dinners, even having some snacks. Make sure you have water. You're not going to survive without water. Make sure you have other things to survive in case all heck breaks loose. If you don't already have some camping gear, I suggest you get a sleeping bag, a tent, a camp stove, and some propane to power your camp stove with. Other things that you might need to cook with: pots and pans, if you don't already have them. Make sure you have some blankets because it's going to get awful cold in just a few weeks. It's starting to get cold now. Where I live, it was 41 degrees last night. It was only 45 degrees this morning when I got up. It's starting to get cold. Already in the northwestern mountains of North Carolina, we got some snow last night. It's already started snowing here, and I'm sure it's snowing other places. I'm sure of it. Winter is coming. Yes, we just got through welcoming fall to our lives all over the world. But there's snow and cold weather coming. Make sure you're ready for it. Make sure you have jackets and hats to go over your head so you don't let all the hot or the heat out of your body. Make sure you have gloves or mittens for your hands. Make sure you have adequate footwear. If you need boots, get some boots. You don't have to buy the most expensive equipment either. Buy what you can afford. Don't go out on the limb and spend money you don't have. Also, if you can, put some money away. Put some money away for emergencies. Put some cash away for an emergency. Okay? Mark says, like the fires of Nebuchadnezzar, the Lord will protect us against our enemies, all enemies. No, he won't. He's only going to protect us if we first do what we can to protect ourselves. Faith without works is dead. The scriptures teach us that. And I have people argue with me over that. The Lord will only give you what you need when you need it. But you also have to show the Lord that you're worth it. Yes, I believe everybody is worth it. But until you show the Lord you're serious, the Lord's not just going to hand it to you on a silver spoon. Not going to happen. Okay? Hurricane Heather says, God helps those who help themselves. Absolutely. Okay? Absolutely. You guys help me. I give you guys information. I help other people. They help me sometimes as well. It's a two-way street between us in heaven and us here on the street. It's a two-way street. Scooter Pie says meds. Make sure you have your prescription drugs. Make sure you have medical supplies and first aid supplies as well. A couple weeks ago, I tore into my 72-hour kit. I showed you a lot of the stuff that I have. I have a lot more medical supplies than I showed you. I'm a former emergency medical technician police officer. I still have most of my emergency preparedness and medical supplies here with me. I want you to at least have some of that yourself. Okay? We've talked about this. Matt Martin says David had to pick up the rocks and put the rocks into his sling. God did not put the rocks in his hands. Each and every one of us has to do what we can, and then the Lord will bless us. I promise you that. There's a poem sitting behind me, right behind me here, on my wall. I'm going to share this poem with you later. later. It's real, guys. It's real. This poem, right, where'd it go? This poem right here. This poem right over here behind my shoulder here. It's called Footprints in the Sand. I will share this with you later. Lemons Light says, Joaquin, you're allowed to disagree. No problem. We're all here to learn from each other. I'm not going to fight you. I'm not going to fight you, and nobody here is going to fight you either. But we're here to learn from each other. We're here to help each other. That's the whole purpose of this program. Rick Silva's in the house here. He's one of my best friends. I appreciate you here as well. One of the first people into this program tonight was Juanito. He's been a friend and a friend of our program over in the Imperial Valley of California, over in El Centro. Later this week, we're going to talk about earthquakes in Southern California again. We're also going to be talking about New Madrid this week. I promise you that. Stuff is happening all over. Okay? I'm going to talk about everything. Scooter Pice is asking a question here. Anyone know what you can do with plastic hangers? I've got 100 of them. My daughter moving out. There's all kinds of things you can do with plastic hangers. I will even put information up on my Facebook page. I may even put it up here on my YouTube page as well, in the community section. All kinds of things you can do. Okay? Joaquin Romer, you can disagree with me all you want. I have no problem with that. But what I want you to do is listen to me. Listen to the rest of us. We can help each other. And when things get really bad, you might come back and say, Ron, I'm sorry. And if that's the case, I'm sorry if I hurt you. I'm sorry if I disagreed with you. If I was wrong, I'll tell you that. But I want to make sure you have the information you need when crap hits the fan. And you may not have the things you need. I'm telling you guys, we have the information here for you. That's why we're here 5 days a week, sometimes 6 or 7. I try to take one day off. Saturdays. Sundays I teach Sunday school here. And I appreciate all that you guys do to watch our Sunday school presentation on Sundays. We nearly had 150 people that have been watching our Sunday school program yesterday. And I really appreciate that. Okay, let's continue this. Folks, a lot of stuff's been going on. I want to show you what is going on with our volcanoes and what's going on with earthquakes in the Cascadia subduction zone region. This is a volcano in Washington State. This is a volcano in the Washington State near the Canadian border. This is called Mount Baker. The seismogram I'm showing you at Mount Baker right now this is not the main seismogram. However, look what I'm showing you here. Look what I'm showing you. See these wavy lines here? These wavy lines mean something. These wavy lines are magma inside the volcano. The more wavy the line is, the more magma coming into the volcano, and the more dangerous it becomes. Look at that. Look at the earthquakes happening because of the magma that's entered the volcano. Magma fractures the rocks inside the volcano, causing earth movement, the earthquakes. Those vertical lines there are earthquakes happening because of the magma inside the volcano. I'm telling you folks, this is not just interesting, it's important to understand. And I'm going to explain it to you again why you're seeing this. Look at this. This is also another seismogram also at Mount Baker. Look at the time periods here where you see the activity. See these vertical lines here? These are vertical lines showing the earthquakes and the tremors. The smaller the vertical lines are called tremors. However, that does not necessarily mean that's true, because the scientists have been turning down the electrical instrument, the seismographs. Turning them down, not letting us know true information. Yes, this shows earthquakes happening. It mostly is showing tremors. Each individual line here, each individual horizontal line is representing 15 minutes of time starting at 5 p.m. yesterday. The thicker the lines, the more magma coming into the volcano. I just got through showing you the seismogram showing all of the magma coming into the volcano. What is this showing us? Very little. It shows us some of the earthquakes and tremors that are hitting because of the magma. But it's not showing you all of the magma that's coming into this volcano, meaning the scientists, seismologists that are operating the seismograph turned it down. They turned it down, folks, so it's not giving us the correct information. These tremors should be larger earthquakes. These tremors should show larger earthquakes. Look at this seismogram as well. Okay? This is also from Mount Baker. Yes, we see some thicker lines here. Yes, we see some activity here. But again, this seismograph has been turned way down. Why are we seeing the thicker lines? And why are we seeing some of this seismic activity, earthquakes and tremors? Because, folks, the earthquakes and tremors are larger than what this seismograph is telling us. The larger activity is making its way through the electronic turndown. And so what we're seeing here is actually larger activity, including the thicker lines showing you magma. Showing you magma coming into this volcano. Okay? Now, down here on the bottom right, I've explained this many times before. I'm going to explain it again. The dark red lines here that you see on the bottom right hand side, not the red lines off to the right of it. Okay? This dark red line here that you see, it's a very thin rectangle. This is called a magma churn signal. A magma churn signal. This magma churn signal is generated when superheated magma comes into the volcano. Okay? See the vertical lines to the right. These are steam signatures. These are steam signatures indicating steam coming out of the volcano. Steam coming out of the volcano. Now, just above it on the right and the left, you see some vertical lines here. Vertical lines. Earthquakes. Earthquakes. Folks, these show this longer red line on the right-hand side. That should show at least a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake, knowing that this seismograph has been turned down. How do we know that? This magma churn signal should be long enough to be 23 to 24 lines high. This magma churn signal is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines high. This might be no more than 21% of real world, meaning this seismogram, if you multiplied it out, should be 3 times what we're showing you here. The signals should be 3 times larger than they're showing you here, because the scientists are lying to us. 3 times more activity than they're showing us here. Yes, there's earthquakes and tremors. These thinner lines, these tiny lines here, that they don't have a dot in the middle of them, those are tremors. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry, folks. Somebody that I'm friends with on Messenger is trying to talk to a group of people and wanted me in there too. They know better than that. I'm not going to interrupt my program just to talk to them. Anyway, guys, this magma churn signal should be 23 or 24 lines high. These lines here, if they have a dot in the middle of them, those are tremors. If they do not have a dot in the middle of them, those are steam signatures. Steam signatures. If this seismograph was turned up to where it should be, you'd see these tiny vertical lines being longer vertical lines, and also they would have a curlicue on them. Because they're so tiny, they don't show that curlicue here. Folks, Mount Baker is a very active volcano, regardless of what the scientists say, because we figured out over the years how to read these seismograms. Okay? Let me show you another one that shows you even more activity. Again, this is a Mount Baker. Look at this, guys. This is normally what we would see on a seismogram at Mount Baker before they started playing with it. They're only playing with it because we started showing the public what these seismograms were showing. We are the only agency, we are the only group that shows these seismograms. Because we started showing the seismograms, showing you the real activity going on, they started either shutting them down completely, or they turned the seismographs down where they're not showing true activity. And they've done that here as well. Now, you're seeing a lot of activity here on this seismogram. This is kind of what we were seeing 3 years ago when we were first showing all of you this activity. This is what it looked like, and worse. This one is tame compared to what we had 3 years ago. But this is kind of like what it should be normally. And this was also today. Okay? What are we seeing here? This is from the Upper Baker Dam. This is a seismograph from the Upper Baker Dam. Okay? Look at all this activity. Tremors and earthquakes here at the Upper Baker Dam. Okay? I can show you more there, but they're screwed up with. Okay? The scientists messing around with this. Sorry, I don't buy it. I just don't buy it. Let me show you another one. Okay? I want to show you Glacier Peak. Right now there's only one seismograph on Glacier Peak. This is about 47 miles southwest of Mount Baker. Notice there's almost nothing showing here. There's almost nothing showing. This seismograph should be recording data from 5 p.m. yesterday. What's it showing? Absolutely nothing. Nothing. They turned the seismograph off. Why? This data we're getting from the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network run by the University of Washington. PNSN, why did you turn this seismograph off? And why are you turning other seismographs off as well? This is not the only one. It's not the only one. They didn't turn this seismograph back on until early this afternoon. Let me enlarge this and show you this. Okay? See where they turned it back on here? There's a line over here on the far right. Okay? This black line on the far right, that should have been over on the left-hand side, 12 noon. So they did not turn this seismograph back on until about 10 minutes after 12 today. They turned it on for an hour. You have 1 hour of accounting here. Then they turned it off again. Why? Why did they turn it off? Look at this long vertical line here. This is a 3.5 small earthquake at Glacier Peak, another volcano just southwest of Mount Baker and just north of Mount Rainier. A 3.5 earthquake here, and there's other tremors here as well. That's why I'm showing it to you guys. USGS and the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network play with us. They don't want to show us real data. And they do this all the time. That's one reason why I'm showing you this particular seismogram. I want to show you what they're really doing. They're not using our taxpayer money correctly. In other words, let me put it in another way for you. I was a federal police officer working for the United States government. If I falsified a document, they could fire me. If I had falsified a document, they would have fired me. And they would have prosecuted me for doing that. Yet this agency is falsifying documents every day. They're falsifying documents every day. Why did they turn this seismograph off? Why did they turn it on, and why did they turn it back off? I can only imagine why they turned it back off. There's more earthquake data than this. Yet there's only one seismograph there. It's only a single channel seismograph, so we can't get any other information from that seismograph. this is information. Folks, why am I telling you this is information? A 3.5 earthquake at a volcano? Is that important? Knowing that we had a 3.5 earthquake at a volcano, is that important or not? I believe it is, because lives depend on it. If we're having a 3.5 earthquake at a volcano, guess what's happening there? That volcano is ramping up to erupt. Okay? That's why they didn't show us the rest of this seismogram. Okay? Apparently, Scooter Pie put up a post here in the chat saying, in Decatur, Illinois, authorities in Macon County, Illinois, are warning the public that an unusual animal is on the loose in Decatur. This is a wild cat. A wild cat loose in Decatur, Illinois. Those of you in that area, you need to keep your eyes peeled. Be careful. Don't let your animals and your children out without supervision. Extreme supervision. You don't want that cat grabbing your animals or your children. Okay? Okay, Joaquin, you're gone. I just removed Joaquin Romer because of his attitude and calling one of my mods names. That is not tolerated. Calling people names and doing things like that is not tolerated. Okay? That's not making friends and influencing people. That's harassing, and I will not tolerate that from anything, from anybody. Okay? Harassing and bullying will not be tolerated. Plain and simple. It won't be tolerated, guys. I just won't let it. You guys mean more to me than anything. And I won't let anybody pull that crap. Joaquin, you're gone. I just reported him to YouTube as well. He's history. I don't need subscribers that do that to me or you. Not going to be tolerated, not now, not ever. Let's keep going here. I've got a lot more to show you than this. Let's go over to Mount Rainier. Mount Rainier is very active. Mount Rainier is very active. Let me show you this. Look at this. This is typically what we would see at Mount Rainier any day. This is probably one of the most active seismograms for Mount Rainier we've obtained from Pacific Northwest Seismic Network. Okay? This is from Camp Muir at Mount Rainier. Look at this. Constant activity. Constant tremor activity. How do we know that this seismograph has been turned down? Look at the activity. If we had this activity and this seismograph was turned up to where it should have been, normal, we would see this activity as larger activity. You'd also see these thin lines here become thicker. And because they'd be thick, you probably would not see any white paper beneath them. Okay? So again, the agency did us a disservice. Yes, we're seeing activity here at Mount Rainier for the first time like this, but the machine is still turned way down. Look what we're seeing here. Tremors all over the place every few minutes. These thin lines should be thicker lines. Look down here at about this. Well, let me show you. Let me enlarge this for you here. See the majority of this activity here? Let me enlarge this again. Okay? This activity started just before 6:30 this morning. Actually about 5:30 this morning. Okay, see these thicker lines here? Magma coming into the magma chamber here at Mount Rainier. And look at the earthquakes hitting here. Now I do not see a magma churn signal here. But judging by what we're seeing here, I believe Mount Rainier is seeing 3.0, 3.5 magnitude earthquakes hitting here. Why? Because the magma coming into the volcano is fracturing rock inside the volcano, causing volcanic uplift. So we're seeing these earthquakes showing this fracturing rock, earth movement here at Mount Rainier. There's a lot of it here. This is more activity than we've seen here from Pacific Northwest Seismic Network in a long time here at Mount Rainier. This is big news. This is big news. Okay? This is big time. Mount Rainier is getting ready. Mount Rainier is getting ready to go. Now, I've got quite a few seismograms to show you. Okay? That's Mount Rainier. I want to show you another one here at Mount Rainier. This is Camp Sherman. This is Camp Sherman. Look at the activity here. Look at all these earthquakes and tremors here. And there's earthquakes here. Okay? See in the center right-hand side of your slide here, you're seeing another magma churn signal here. This one is larger than the other one here. Again, this is Mount Rainier, not Mount Baker. Look what I'm showing you here. Let's count the number of lines this magma churn signal is. Yes, it is a thin magma churn signal, but it is longer. This one is showing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lines high. This is about 46, 47% of real world. 46 or 47% of real world. So the earthquakes you're seeing here and the tremors you're seeing are actually larger. At least twice as large, maybe a little bit larger than twice as large. Okay? Let's take this earthquake here on the left-hand side, for instance. It's on this blue line here. Okay? Look at that. Okay? This is just after 4:32 this morning. 4:32 this morning. Twice as large. I believe we probably had a 4.5, 4.9 magnitude earthquake here at Mount Rainier this morning. Double the length of that line here, this blue vertical line. We probably had a 4.5, 4.9 magnitude earthquake here at Mount Rainier. Okay, this is important knowledge. Remember, we just had a 4.5, 4.8 earthquake here, 4.9 earthquake. This is important information. Okay, look at the other lines here. Other tremors and earthquakes here as well. A lot of earthquake information here. Look at the lines here as well. Some of these lines are thicker, other thinner. This seismograph has been turned down, 50% turned down at least, 53% turned down. These thicker lines would be even thicker if the seismologist had not been dishonest with us. Okay? But a 4.5 earthquake at Mount Rainier, that's serious. Mount Rainier is getting ready to erupt. Mount Rainier is getting ready to erupt. How about Mount St. Helens? How about Mount St. Helens? Let's look at Mount St. Helens. This is East Dome Mount St. Helens. This is a seismograph sitting at the top of Mount Rainier at the summit. Look what we're seeing here. Up at the top of this seismogram, look what we're seeing here. See this magma churn signal, guys? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Again, this is 46 or 47% of real world. Off to the right of that is steam. Mount St. Helens, Mount Rainier, Mount Hood, Glacier Peak, Mount Baker, they're all steaming. They're all steaming. Look at this earthquake here at Mount Rainier this morning. This happened after 12:30 this morning, about 12:08, 12:09 this morning. This is still serious. This is also at least a 4.5, 4.8 earthquake. This may have been as much as a 5.0 large earthquake here at Mount St. Helens. Okay, today. Look at this other earthquake down here. It happened after that. This earthquake happened at about 4:33 this morning. Look at that. Look how thick this earthquake was compared to the other one. Okay, that's serious. The thicker the earthquake, the more activity. The thicker the earthquake, the more activity. Meaning the ground did not stop shaking. The ground did not stop shaking for a while, several seconds at least. Probably up to 5 to 10 seconds. And then, off to the right of there, we have a secondary quake. A secondary quake. The lines are smaller, meaning the shaking didn't stop, but it was lessened. That secondary quake lasted almost a full minute. This earthquake probably was closer to a 5.0. A 5.0 earthquake at Mount St. Helens. This is the largest earthquake at Mount St. Helens that we've seen in the 4.5 years that we've been doing this. This is a big deal. And before that, on that black line was about 3:03 this morning. That was another probably 4.0 earthquake. Look at all these earthquakes here. How about this black one down here? This black one down here is after 10 a.m. Probably closer to 10:10 a.m. 10 minutes after 10 this morning. Knowing that this seismograph has been turned down at least 52%. Again, we're probably seeing a 4.5 earthquake here. How many large earthquakes do we have to have? A 4.5 is a moderate quake. Anything 4.0 to 4.9 is considered to be a minor quake. Okay? That's what's going on here. That's what's going on. Look at these earthquakes. Mount St. Helens could possibly erupt. They have not issued a possible eruption warning. They have not elevated the eruption status of Mount St. Helens. But look at these earthquakes. The earthquakes are telling a story that the agency is not. Look down here again. We have another magma churn signal. When we get these magma churn signals, sometimes you'll see two of them on the seismogram. In this case, they're the same thing, same size and everything. Okay? This is serious. This is very serious. Mount St. Helens is getting ready to go. These larger earthquakes are proof of it. These larger earthquakes are proof of it. Okay? Let's look down at Mount Hood. Well, before I leave you, or before we leave Mount St. Helens, I want to show you something else. This is the September lobe seismograph. September lobe seismograph is a multi-channel seismograph. We go to this particular channel on the seismograph. It's called BDF CC-01. This shows us the magma inside the volcano. Again, these are VLF waves, very low frequency waves made when the magma is coming in under pressure inside the volcano. Look at this. The largest number of waves shows you the activity that's happening. The earthquakes that we had did not necessarily happen with the largest activity. They happened with lesser activity. That's a sign, guys. That's a sign. Okay? That's a big deal. That's a huge deal. Apparently Sherry is in the chat. She has no HUD, no disability, no CICOA, can do anything other than refer her to legal aid agencies that do little to nothing to take back months to get help for her. Wow. Aubrey's suggesting Catholic Community Services sometimes have lawyers to help with landlord-tenant issues. Absolutely. Also, if you need food, Sherry, if you need food, you can also go to other churches in your area. They have soup kitchens. They also have food pantries. Food pantries. Look in your telephone directory or look at it online. Okay? Look up the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Okay? You can call the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in your area. They have a bishop of their church for your particular area, neighborhood. That bishop of that church might be able to help you with food. Okay? And might be able to give you other aid as well. Check that out. I'm just saying. Check it out. As Lamb is Light is saying here in the chat, don't stop asking for help in your area. Call every number you can find, every ministry, every church, every county help agency. 211 is an excellent idea. They're run by United Way. That's a good idea as well. Okay? Don't give up. Don't give up. Reflections is saying this seismograph looks chaotic, or seismogram here looks chaotic, and it is. Mount St. Helens is getting ready to go, guys. Mount St. Helens is getting ready to go. That's why I'm showing you this. This is the most activity we've seen at Mount St. Helens or Mount Rainier in a very, very long time. But it's not the only one. It's not the only one. Look at this at Mount St. Helens here. This is the seismogram from the USGS. Look at the top of this seismogram. There's very little white paper here. This shows a little bit different story. This seismogram started just after 9 p.m. last night. So you're seeing activity 9 p.m. last night forward. Look at these earthquakes here. Look at these earthquakes. This is telling a little bit different story. Okay? This is Mount St. Helens Sugar Bowl. This is a separate seismograph from the others. That is a lot of activity at Mount St. Helens. Like I said, it appears that Mount St. Helens is getting ready to erupt. Again, the agency has not issued any possible safety for anybody around that volcano. And yet look at the activity. Okay? Reflection says Mount St. Helens needs to calm down. We don't want another 1980. Okay? 1980 at Mount St. Helens. What if Mount Rainier went near the same time? That's what it appears to be happening. That's what appears to be happening. And it's not the only volcano. Look at this. This is Mount Hood. Mount Hood. Again, this is a USGS seismogram. Okay? It's not showing much activity last night. 2100 over on the left-hand side is 9 p.m. last night. But again, this seismograph has been turned down. You see magma working its way through the magma chamber of this volcano. How do we know? Each individual line here is again 15 minutes long. Each individual line here, horizontal line, should show magma coming into the volcano. The magma that you're seeing is strong enough to make its way through the electronic turndown of the machine. Look at that. Then, as we go throughout the morning here and into this afternoon, more and more magma and more earthquakes. Look what happened here this evening. Look at all this magma here and look at the tremors and earthquakes that are hitting here. This is Mount Hood, ladies and gentlemen. Mount Hood is also ramping up. Mount Hood is also ramping up. Okay? It's not as bad as Mount St. Helens. It's not as bad as Mount Rainier, but it's ramping up. Okay? It's ramping up. Now I want to show you another one. This one is down in Northern California. In Northern California. This is Mount Lassen. This is seismogram LME. LME. The seismograph is reporting LME. Look at the earthquakes here. Mount Lassen is also one of the Cascade Mountain volcanoes. The Cascade Mountain range goes from just north of the Canadian border to south into California. Mount Shasta and Mount Lassen. Look at the earthquakes here. Look at the tremors here. This is serious, guys. This is serious. Look at all this events, these incidents here. Then look at the time when the seismograph is not showing anything. Okay? It doesn't work that way, guys. It doesn't work that way. They turn the seismograph down, and then all of a sudden we have some more earthquakes here this morning, don't we? Look at these earthquakes here at Mount Lassen this morning. This first one here happened at about 3:12 this morning. Okay? I believe this is probably a 4.0 earthquake. Why? It should be larger than they're showing it. They've turned this seismograph down as well. Okay? How do I know? Look at how long it is, number one. That's a good sized earthquake. Number two, look at the top and the bottom. This seismograph, the scientists have cut off the top and the bottom of this earthquake. They're not showing the complete length of this earthquake, meaning the strength of the earthquake. Look how thick it is. This seismic event lasted about 30 seconds. 30 seconds worth of shaking. This is probably a 4.0, 4.5 earthquake at Mount Lassen. Third, look out to the right. Look out to the right. The secondary shaking here. The secondary quake. It's not as strong. It never is. The secondary quake is when the shaking starts going down. We look at the entire quake, we find a lot of information. That was a powerful quake. This one over here at just after 3:01 a.m. this morning. Folks, this one at least we see how tall it was. This one's probably a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. Look at the other events here. Today, this morning. Look at the seismic events happening this morning. Look at all this magma here. Magma causing fracturing of the rock. Movement inside the volcano. This is serious. Mount Lassen. Hurricane Heather is asking, are we at Lassen? Yes, this is Mount Lassen. This is Mount Lassen, guys. Hurricane Heather says, what about Mount Shasta? Let's look at Mount Shasta, Heather. Let's look at Mount Shasta here. Okay. Look at this. Mount Shasta is north of Mount Lassen, guys. That is an awful lot of activity for Mount Lassen. Look what we're showing you here. Number one, when they started rolling the seismograph. Okay, this is digital. They don't have drums anymore. This is digital. But somebody still foobarred the seismograph. If this had been on a drum, if the paper was rolling on a drum, they had misplaced how the paper went onto the drum of the seismograph. That's what it appears has happened with this. Then the seismograph starts recording information, doesn't it? This happened yesterday. The top of this seismograph shows this started rolling about 12:30 yesterday afternoon. 12:30 yesterday afternoon. Not a lot going on, huh? However, look at these lines. Look at these thicker lines. That's a lot of magma, guys. Still showing magma coming into the magma chamber. But This seismograph has been turned down again. So the seismograph is not giving you an accurate picture of what's actually happened. The thicker lines showing here is a lot of magma coming into the magma chamber under pressure. Magma coming into the magma chamber under pressure into the volcano. We have thinner lines making thicker lines. Okay? It's called magma pulse signals. Magma pulse signals. Thinner lines becoming thicker lines and become thinner again, and then becoming thicker again. Magma pulse signals. Look at all the tremors here. Okay? Look at all the tremors here. Then we come down here. Again, early this morning, about 3:20 a.m. this morning, we had a good size earthquake. They turned down the seismograph here, number one. Number two, look at the top and the bottom of this earthquake. They cut off the top and they cut off the bottom. Look at the thickness of this earthquake. This earthquake lasted about a minute to a minute and a half. Folks, this was a large earthquake. I believe this probably was a 5.0 earthquake, and it lasted a full minute. Look out to the right of there. Look at the blue lines going out to the right. The blue lines signify a secondary quake. Secondary shaking to the quake. The secondary shaking lasted 2 minutes. That tells me, together with the thickness of this earthquake and knowing that it's been cut off top and the bottom, this is a large 5.0 earthquake, maybe larger than that. With the secondary wave this long out to the right, 2.5 minutes, they screwed up here. They don't want us to know the truth here. This is a large earthquake at Mount Lassen. This is the Cascade Mountain volcano in the Cascade Mountain range. This is also serious. If these Cascade volcanoes are having moderate to large earthquakes, what does this tell you? If they're having these size quakes, this tells you that there's something seriously wrong, that there's going to be an eruption. That's what this is saying. And knowing they're not showing much else, they've turned the doggone machine down and it's not reporting information. Okay? They turned the machine down and they're not reporting correct information. For them to cut that earthquake off, that was criminal. That earthquake lasted over 60 seconds. That's criminal. This is a USGS seismogram, meaning a federal government seismogram here in the United States. Whoever turned this down is guilty of a crime, falsifying documents, falsifying living documents. That's not supposed to happen. Now, I have a lot more seismographs. Have a lot more seismograms to show you. However, it's getting late. I'm going to summarize everything here that we've been talking about. You need to know that. You need to keep an eye on everything. It's not just the criminal activity that we're seeing out on our streets. The agencies are also being criminals themselves. You can see it. The documents are truth of it. Aubrey is saying impending eruptions. It could happen. It could happen. Even though the agencies have not said anything, You need to keep an eye, if you live in these areas, you need to keep an eye peeled for a possible eruption of these volcanoes. The other volcanoes north of Mount Lassen and Mount Shasta over in Oregon are not quite as bad as Hood, Helens, and Mount Rainier. Those three volcanoes, and down here in California, Shasta and Lassen, are meaningful seismograms. They give us a lot of information, don't they? I'm telling you guys, this is serious. This is serious, and you need to take it seriously. Okay? Why am I telling you this? A number of years ago, a former friend of mine named Terry Rempel wrote a paper. And yeah, he was wrong on his calculations, but he was right on a lot of other things. And I'm telling you that right now. He was right about a lot of other things. Folks, you need to make it right with your God. Number one. Number one. Number two. What is going on in the Cascadia subduction zone? I showed you large earthquakes happening northwest of Vancouver Island. A 5.1 and a 5.2 earthquake yesterday out in the North Pacific West or Northeast Pacific off the coast of Canada. Two large earthquakes. Now, the same area 3 years ago had 4 7.0 earthquakes Christmas Eve. That same area 3 years ago had 7.0 earthquakes on Christmas Eve. Terry would confirm that. I'm sorry, that wasn't it. That wasn't what I was going to show you here. Just a second, I want to show you the USGS map. This is serious, that's why I'm showing it to you. I want to show it to you. Hold the phone. I want to show you this. This is important information, guys. This is very important information. They downgraded this earthquake from a 5.1 to a 4.9. USGS has this as a 4.9. They're full of crap. They're full of crap. This was at least a 5.1 earthquake, maybe larger. The other earthquake they're not even showing you from yesterday was a 5.2. 3 years ago we had 4 7.0 earthquakes in the same area. Christmas Eve, Terry and I were talking on the phone. We both thought that Cascadia megathrust earthquake was going to happen that night. We got down on our knees and started praying, asking the Lord to slow down what was going on. 4 7.0 major earthquakes. 4 major earthquakes happening in this area on Christmas Eve. That could have started the Cascadia megathrust earthquake. A 9.0 earthquake. 10.0 earthquake. Yes, folks, that's how strong the Cascadia megathrust earthquake is going to be. A 9.0 to a 10.0 magnitude earthquake. While these are not that large, these are still large earthquakes happening in this same area. We need to keep cognizant of what's going on. There's other earthquakes off the coast of Seattle, or excuse me, of Washington and Oregon in there as well. They're not showing it. They're not showing half the data that's actually going on. This earthquake inland, this happened at Falls City, Washington. It shows it to be a 1.7 tremor, 10.5 miles deep. 10.5 miles deep. Now we are showing activity over here in the southern end of the Cascadia region. This is the southern area of the Cascadia region. This earthquake here, they have as a 4.0. A 4.0. This came in as a 4.3. They turned it down. This earthquake may have been larger than that. Whenever the agencies start deciding to redact the information and change it, you know they are hiding something. This is just off the coast of Humboldt Hill, California. It's right between the Cascadia subduction zone and California. It's out into the Pacific Ocean here. There is one other earthquake closer to shore. This is a 3.0 earthquake, 16 miles deep. A 3.0 small earthquake, 16 miles deep. This 4.0 is 14 miles deep, pretty much the same depth. One earthquake here. One earthquake here. This is right next to the coast, still right in the southern Cascadia subduction zone region. This is a 1.6 tremor, 10.2 miles deep. Pretty much the same depth. What do we have here? Out here, you see this red line going north here? That is the Cascadia subduction zone that follows the coast of California, Oregon, Washington, up off the coast of Canada as well, all the way to Queen Charlotte Island. The Cascadia subduction zone. Okay? What's important about it? Folks, right up here, up north, we're expecting a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake somewhere in this region between where this 5 hit here was probably a larger earthquake and Seattle. From this earthquake up here, I turned blue here, all the way down here to the Puget Sound area, the Strait of Juan de Fuca right here, that's the Strait of Juan de Fuca here. Just off the coast of the Strait of Juan de Fuca right here, between that earthquake we had today and here, the Strait of Juan de Fuca, this is where we are going to have a 9.0 to 10.0 magnitude Cascadia megathrust earthquake, a major earthquake off the coast of Washington, Oregon, and Canada. A major earthquake. A major earthquake here. This earthquake is going to be felt all the way up here into Alaska. Notice what happened here in the Aleutian Islands today. This was a 6.4. This was a very strong earthquake. 6.0, 6.9 are considered to be very strong earthquakes. Given that they've called this a 6.4, this may have been larger than that. Okay? They say this is northwest of Adak, Alaska. Okay? What do we have here? Just off the coast of these islands. Where you see the white, those are volcanoes. Volcanoes made those islands. Nobody is inhabiting these islands here in Adak, Alaska. Nobody felt those probably. West of there, this is Attu Station. 167 miles east-southeast of Attu Station. That's a 3.6 earthquake. This earthquake east of the 6.4, that's a 3.2 earthquake. West here. West of that is a 4.3 here. This is southeast of Akutan, Alaska. A 4.3 moderate quake. Now you see other earthquakes here into Alaska itself. Okay? Kodiak Island. This is a 2.5. Southeast of Kodiak Island. This is a 2.5 near Old Harbor, Alaska. No, folks, it's not near Old Harbor. Sorry, this is out into the Gulf of Alaska on the Aleutian Island Fault Zone. The Aleutian Island Fault Zone continues up here into the Gulf of Alaska. And then it comes down here and connects over here with the Cascadia subduction zone, doesn't it? Yeah. These earthquakes get from one place to another on that earthquake superhighway. Look what we have here. This is near Funny River, Alaska. It's a 2.3. Okay? Over here. This is near Big Lake, Alaska. This is just north of Anchorage, Alaska. Just north of Anchorage. This is also near Anchorage, Alaska. This is just 1 mile northwest. I'm going to say Anchorage, Alaska, period. This is a 2.0 minor earthquake at Anchorage, Alaska today. And north of there, you see a red dot? That earthquake just happened. This is a 1.2 tremor here near Susitna, Alaska. Going up here to Mount McKinley. Mount McKinley, guys, a 1.8 magnitude tremor at Mount McKinley today. Okay? And there's other earthquakes here at Denali. This is a 1.4. Going further southwest is a 2.3. They're saying this is Central Alaska. No, it's not. It's right on the western border of Denali National Park. Again, the agency will not even admit to where these earthquakes really are. Heaven forbid they tell the truth. This one here, they are telling the truth. This one's a 1.9 tremor. However, they're not really telling the truth at all. They're saying this is southeast of Denali. No, it's not. It's northwest of Denali. A 2.0 earthquake northwest of Denali. It's not on the southwest side. USGS, get your heads out of your butts. Another earthquake just happened here. It's a 1.8 tremor. A 1.8 tremor. There's nothing here north of Central Alaska here. This is Central Alaska. This is a 1.4 magnitude tremor. No earthquakes up into the Arctic Circle or anywhere near the oil and gas producing region up here along the north shore of Alaska. No earthquakes there, fortunately. But knowing we have this 6.4 in the Aleutian Island chain, look out. Look out. This could mean we might have a large earthquake in Anchorage. Watch for the next 7 to 10 days and see if that doesn't become a very large earthquake, very strong earthquake in Anchorage, Alaska. And seismic energy is coming down the west coast. Seismic energy is coming down the west coast of North America. We're getting hit. We're getting hit. And not even just up there near the Cascadia subduction zone. Let's go down here. Okay? These earthquakes here, these are in the geysers. These happen every day. Not really a big deal unless they start getting larger. This is a geothermal area. This lake here that you see is called Clear Lake. It's actually a volcano. The Clear Lake volcano. These earthquakes you're seeing here, they are causations of that volcano. Men have drilled into the upper magma chambers of the Clear Lake volcano to obtain steam to power turbines to generate electricity here in this area called the geysers. This is called the geysers, guys. They have turbines here that generate electricity, that send electricity all over the western United States, including Pacific Gas and Electric here in California, and also up into Utah. Yes, Utah, guys. Rocky Mountain Power also pulls power out of here in the geysers area. Okay? Four huge electrical conglomerates pull power from the geysers here. These are earthquakes caused by seismic energy hitting the man-made earthquake faults caused by the drilling. Seismic energy activating earthquakes, earth movement here at these man-made earthquake faults. This one is a 1.7. This one here is a 1.1. Most of these are nothing more than 1.1s, 1.7s, and nothing more than 2.0s. However, that's not always the case. Occasionally we'll get a 2.0, 3.0. We've even had a moderate 4.0 earthquake here at the geysers before. Clear Lake volcano is very active. We've had earthquakes there as well. San Francisco Bay. The USGS is lying through its teeth here. They've had earthquakes here today. Down here, earlier today, there was an earthquake here just west of Monterey Bay. It happened to be a 4.5 earthquake west of Monterey Bay here. So they took it down. What a bunch of crap. What a bunch of crap. Over here, this is Fremont, California. This is a 2.2 earthquake in Fremont, California. They're not showing any other earthquakes here on the San Andreas Fault. See this red line? That's a San Andreas Fault running away from Northern California. The San Andreas Fault goes all the way up here, guys. All the way up here. See that San Andreas Fault? Goes through California, comes up here to Northern California. It links up with the Cascadia subduction zone right there. This is called the triple junction. The Cascadia subduction zone, the the Cascadia subduction zone, the I can't remember it. The Cascadia subduction zone, the San Andreas Fault, and this other fault here. Okay? This is called the triple junction where all three faults meet. Okay? This is all part of the Cascadia subduction zone region. Okay? But the Cascadia subduction zone doesn't stop earthquakes. If the Cascadia subduction zone has that earthquake happen, that 10.0 happen, it's going to shake all the way down here in New Mexico. It's going to shake all the way down here in New Mexico. Right here off the shore of California, Southern California, off the shore of Newport Beach, California. This is on the Newport-Inglewood Fault out here in the water. This is a 2.6 earthquake here on the Newport-Inglewood Fault. And then this Newport-Inglewood Fault just doesn't sit there. It also travels down here and becomes the Rose Canyon Fault down here. The Rose Canyon Fault. The Rose Canyon Fault comes inland right here near Encinitas, California, northwest San Diego County. Northwest San Diego County. It comes inland. Then it follows the coast into downtown San Diego. Downtown San Diego. It exits downtown San Diego down here into the harbor. The Rose Canyon Fault, just like the Newport-Inglewood Fault, is capable of a 7.0 earthquake. Capable of a 7.0 earthquake. That's why we try to talk about earthquakes here in San Diego County as well. There they are due a 7.0 earthquake. It can happen. It can happen. This earthquake right here, Chula Vista, California. Chula Vista, California. They say it's a quarry blast, guys. Let's go check on it. Let's go check and see what they're saying and see what is really the truth. Guess what? This earthquake is nowhere near the quarry. The quarry's out here, isn't it? There are buildings here and everything out by the quarry, right? Oh yeah. And there's housing developments here as well. Where was this earthquake really? Let me tell you that. This is right at a ball field. A ball field surrounded by homes all over the place. This was not a quarry blast. This was a 1.3 tremor here in Chula Vista, California. They've done this before to us. They lie through their frickin' teeth. This was not a quarry blast. This was a 1.3 tremor down there. And this was 2.6 miles deep as well. There's no way in hell this was a quarry blast. No way was this a quarry blast. Okay? Elena Villicano is asking, every room I'm in, I spot my go-to spot in the event of an earthquake. Let me tell you about that. Let me tell you about that, guys. If you have an earthquake in your home, it doesn't matter where you live either. If you have an earthquake in your home, and I know I'm not showing you other earthquakes, there are other earthquakes that have happened today, including another large earthquake in the Indian Ocean between Saudi Arabia and India. Okay, there was another large earthquake down there. However, we're here at the end of our program. Okay, so I'm not going to show you any more here necessarily. Okay, but I am going to talk about earthquake safety here. If you have an earthquake, the best place you could be during an earthquake is to dive under a table, a very strong-legged table or a desk. Dive under the table, put your head between your arms and hold on to the table legs. Keep your whole body, including your head, under the table or the desk. That way you're protected from anything falling on you. You're protected from anything falling on you. Okay? It's called duck, cover, and hold on. Duck, go cover, and hold on. That's what you need to do. If you don't have a heavy piece of furniture like that, a desk or a table, go next to your bed. Pull the mattress off the bed over the top of you and stay under the mattress until the shaking stops. The bed frame might help stop anything from hurting you. The mattress on top of you will also help protect you. Okay? Those are the two places you should be. Never hide in front of a couch or a refrigerator or a freezer or anything like that. Make sure your heavy furniture is secured to the walls of your home. Make sure your heavy furniture is secured to the walls of your home. That is absolutely necessary. That's absolutely necessary, guys. I'm telling you. Okay? Reflections is saying, if we have the big one, would it throw you so many feet? I heard it would. It possibly could, because the shaking is going to do like this. It might shuffle you a foot or two. It's not going to throw you much further than that. You need to duck, cover, and hold on. Melinda is here in the chat saying the Great Shakeout is the 19th, I believe. You're probably right in your area. They have different dates and times for the Great American Shakeout. But you need to know this basic information. Okay? If you have one of those big TVs, stay away from it. You don't want that TV falling off of where you have it and hitting you. That TV has glass in it. It could hurt you. It's not that heavy, but it can still hurt you. Okay? Do you have any questions for me? I know I'm over time right now, but I want to answer some questions here. Do you have any questions for me? I appreciate each and every one of you that have been here tonight. Right now it shows 105 thumbs up, which I greatly appreciate. That means a lot to me. Please, folks, I hope you stayed here for the whole program. It's very necessary. It's very necessary. We had a lot of things to talk about tonight. Melinda says we're on the new matter fault. We're going to talk about the new matter fault this week. I promise you that. We're not going to leave this program without talking about the new matter fault this week. We have it. I show now. I refreshed my page. We've shown now over 128 thumbs up. I really appreciate that. Okay. Reflections is saying a 95 mask for ash. Right. Okay. Have something to protect your face. A face diaper to protect your face. Wear goggles. Wear goggles to protect your eyes. You don't want to get ash, and tiny shards of glass that the cooling lava puts out. It's tiny shards of glass. Okay, you don't want that or the ash to get in your eyes. It could really be detrimental to you. Or breathing. You don't want it down your lungs. Make sure you're going to adequately protect yourself here. Jamie's asking who's going to get the big earthquake next. I don't know. I'm not even going to forecast that earthquake. Yes, I'm telling you, judging by the seismograms at those volcanoes, it looks like there possibly could be a volcanic eruption at 3 of those volcanoes. 3 of them. And the other volcanoes are almost as active. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. There's a lot going on here. That's why I've taken so long with you tonight, showing you what exactly is going on. It's important. It's very important. But I'm not going to try to predict an earthquake. It's impossible. You can't predict earthquakes. You might be able to forecast an earthquake in a general type of situation, but I don't think you can give us a day at a time. It's not going to happen. I just don't think it's going to happen. Now I want to share something with you that someone sent me. Okay? I want to share something that someone sent me during the last 24 hours. This scripture comes from the book of St. John, the Apostle, in the New Testament. It comes from the 17th chapter of John, and I'm going to start with verse 1. Verse 1 says, "These words spake Jesus, and lifted up his eyes to heaven, and said, Father, the hour is come. Glorify thy Son, that thy Son also may glorify thee. As thou hast given him power over all flesh, that he should give eternal life to as many as thou hast given him." And this is life eternal, that they might know thee, the only true God, and Jesus Christ, whom thou sent. Jesus Christ is clearly speaking about his Father in heaven, our Father in heaven. And this is life eternal, that they might know thee, the only true God, and Jesus Christ, whom thou hast sent. Then verse 4, "I have glorified thee on the earth. I have finished the work which thou gavest me to do. And now, O Father," verse 5, "and now, O Father, glorify thou me with thine own self, with the glory which I had with thee before the world was." Before the world was. Jesus Christ is speaking to each of us here, identifying that before we came to this earth, we lived with our Father in heaven. We got sent to this earth to have experiences. We got sent to this earth promising the Lord when we left that we'd try to find him again. We'd try to find his gospel and try to live according to the Lord's will, obeying his commandments, so that we could return to our Father in heaven after our lives are done. That is the gospel of Jesus Christ. That is our salvation, knowing that we are God's children. Each and every one of us are God's children. Those 5 scriptures detail our lives and our very salvation. May God bless you. May God bless you that you will remember these things. They're very important. God bless you that you might prepare for the very day that you may meet the Savior. God bless you that you might prepare and know what's going on and be able to save lives and help other people. That's what this channel is about. Knowing how to save lives, our own, our families, and others. God bless you, brothers and sisters. I love each and every one of you. Now, if anything else happens, we'll be back here on the air tonight. If anything happens tonight, we'll be back on the air tonight to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. Until then, I hope you have a good night. Help each other. Review this presentation. I've given you a lot of thought here. There's a lot of meat in it. Can't talk. I'm too tired. Review this presentation. Share it with your friends, your relatives, your extended family, and your family. Share it with your social media contacts and the people you work with, everyone, high and low. There is not one little thing that can't be able to help somebody else to see. Everything in our program tonight was very important. May God bless you to know the truthfulness of the gospel. May God bless you to know the truthfulness of what we talked about tonight. Every piece is important. Every piece is important. I hope you have a great night and a better tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow night, same time, same bat station. Anywhere between 6 and 7 p.m. we'll be on the air, just like we were tonight. Take care, everybody. Feel the Lord's arms around you. Good night. Take it easy. God be with you till we meet again. Have a great one, folks. We will see you on the other side. True. Good night, everybody.